On a day when 20 bomb threats targeted multiple airlines, the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security, that is the BCAS, convened a crucial meeting with the airline CEOs to address the growing issue of hoax bomb threats that have plagued the aviation industry for 6 consecutive days, bringing up the tally of threats to 70 in total now. The meeting focused on balancing the passenger safety with minimizing disruptions caused by these false alarms. A senior official from the Ministry of Home Affairs has highlighted the goal, which says, and I quote, "The meeting discussed ways to strike a balance between keeping the skies safe while ensuring minimum inconvenience to the passengers and the airlines." Among the incidents was a bomb threat in the lavatory of the Udaipur-Mumbai Vistara flight, which added to the 50-plus threats received since Monday. Airlines such as Vistara, Indigo, others have all been affected, with several flights either being delayed or diverted, costing the civilians in time, energy and money. The high-profile meeting attended by Air India CEO Campbell Wilson, Air India Express CEO Alok Singh, Vistara CEO Vinod Kannan and representatives from Indigo, Akasa Air and SpiceJet sought to establish standard operating procedures for dealing with these threats. The BCAS Director General Zulfikar Hassan emphasized the need for zero tolerance towards security lapses and discussed actionable steps airlines must take to ensure passenger and operational safety. Key suggestions included improving screening processes and enhancing communication channels between the airlines, security agencies and airport authorities. Airlines submitted detailed reports on the threats they have faced, and the BCAS issued guidelines to mitigate further risks. Meanwhile, Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu has expressed his deep concern through a statement over the disruptions caused by these unlawful activities. Minister chaired a high-level meeting on October 14th, attended by officials from the DGCA, the BCAS and the CISF, as well as the Home Ministry, to closely monitor the very situation. Now, to discuss this matter in greater depths, I have joining me on this broadcast Jitendra Bhargava, who is the former Executive Director of Air India. Mr. Bhargava, welcome to News 9 and a very good afternoon to you. Getting right to the point here, this is a matter which costs not just the civilians but even the aviation industry a lot in terms of money, in terms of time, resources in general. What exactly has in fact come to the fore from the BCAS meeting that took place? Any specific security guidelines that have come to the fore or that have been formulated with regards to these bomb threats that are consecutively coming in? And it's at 70 now. It's quite a big number.
You know, it's a very unprecedented phase for the Indian aviation. That hoax call, one after the other, is being made, disrupting flight schedule, diversion of flights, causing inconvenience to passengers, financial loss to the airlines and to the country's image as to what are we happening. Unfortunate part is that the focus has been of BCAS that let's meet the CEOs of the airlines, get the security, get marshals more appointed, and for them to get onto the drill. But let's look at it realistically. Can the aviation industry, which is a victim of these hoax calls, do anything to prevent it? The answer is no. Because the standing operating procedures are very clear that once a hoax call, once a call is made, it only turns out to be hoax later. When a call is received, it's communicated to the pilot, and who takes the first decision to land at the nearest airport in pursuit of safety. So that is how it's been happening and all over, and that's where the financial loss inconvenience comes in, as far as this is concerned. Now, what can the airline do in these circumstances? In my opinion, precious little. If something is to be done, is to avert the telephone calls being received or calls being made on through the social media that there is a threat to a particular flight number which they've been mentioning about it. So the focus, as I've maintained, is must shift from counting of flights. Like you said, 70 flights have been impacted thus far. to the number of days that have gone by since the first call was made, and how successful have we been in tracking the origin of the calls and apprehending the culprits. Till such time, we can reach out to the culprits, arrest them, take them to task, and they have a fear in them that, look, we can be tracked, we can be traced, we can be apprehended. The calls will not stop. So that is where the focus, in my opinion, has to be. The Civil Aviation Minister has been holding meetings. Parliamentary committee attached to the Aviation Ministry has been briefed on the subject. But the question is, the investigating agencies. BCAS is an arm, all right, Bureau of Civil Aviation Security. But is the NIA, intelligence agencies, and if they could track down that the calls were made for some of these flights out of Germany and London, then to decode that, okay, the VPNs that we use, where did the call actually originate?
Absolutely. So, Mr. Bhargava, do you think there should be an international cooperation as well to some level when we talk about investigation here? That is much needed at this hour.
Yes, we need that. That's why we are saying that once you say that, look, it's beyond our shores and the calls have originated from Germany or London, why not seek international help? And said, look, we need to track it down, because 6 days plus for these calls to continue to do it, it sends a very, very negative message with respect to our own capabilities. So the best thing is get the help, the best help that can wait, and curb the calls, arrest the people, and only when the fear, the deterrent comes into the people who are making these calls, will the calls stop.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, taking on the discussion from there, we have a very limited time in our hands for the story, unfortunately. I would want to ask you one last question with regards to this. While the investigative part is one way to go ahead into this very matter, do you also think that at this point, given the kind of disruptions it's causing to the civilians or to people who are, using the airline facility, do you think it is also needed at some level to train the ground level workers as to how to manage these situations? Some sort of specific training is also needed.
You train your staff, you have the best of security services, you screen the passengers, you screen the baggages thoroughly well.
Right.
But will you divert a flight if you get a call? The answer is yes, you will divert a call, because you cannot be 100% sure that we can take a chance and keep proceeding with the flight. Should something untoward happens, then you regret for your life and said, when a call was received, why did I not divert and land at the nearest airport? You see, the only airline globally is the Israeli airline El Al. When they get a hoax call, they do not divert, because they are so stringent with their security checks and so confident about the checks that they said, look, it's a hoax call. Right from the word the call is received, they don't go about it.
So isn't there a way that we can incorporate that within our system as well? Isn't there a way to incorporate that?
We have to get onto a system, and the culture has to be there, that we can't find an employee who can be arrested, who can be taken to task should something, a leeway, a passenger takes a leeway, he fights here, we'll immediately get into an arena of complaints. Oh, it's been such a tedious process. We're taking so much time for the security checks, etc. Because security for airline is paramount.
Absolutely.
So we need to get into a system, and the culture is to get on. But till such time it is, the only way to stop the calls emanating, making flights diversion of flights, etc., is to catch the culprits.
Absolutely, Mr. Bhargava. Thank you for joining us on News 9. And definitely the conversation as we just had, the highlight of it is extremely important that the probe takes place properly with proper procedure, proper investigative procedures in place, because the culprits need to be nabbed at this point. Else, the message that goes out from the aviation sector of our nation isn't in the best interest. Well, thank you, Mr. Bhargava, once again for joining us.